Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. My name is Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
We're so excited. This is the new year, 2024. Again, we didn't plan that. But today's episode is about ghosting, one of my favorite subjects.
Bum, bum, bum.
I love that you give us sound effects. I'm like,
wait, what's a ghost?
Ooh, ghosting. Anyway, not that kind of ghosting. More when you are like, please, never to be heard from again. So we're gonna go over that and when it's appropriate, if it's appropriate, and what's our personal experiences with ghosting. So Ruth, do you think ghosting is appropriate?
I think in certain circumstances it can be warranted. I think that I was the queen of ghosting in my single days, and I'm not going to say I'm proud of it, but I'm also going to say I avoided some conflict from it.
She did.
Sorry to anybody that's watching.
She did. She ghosted, and she lived to tell the tale. So,
I did.
I mean,
I have said in past episodes, I think the way that you handle it is definitely better. But I also think there are different elements to this, right? Okay, so for sure, for women, sometimes there's a fear of retaliation. And there could be more of a safety of being like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to step away.
That's fair.
Also, where's the level at which it's okay and it's not? Like, I mean, if you're talking to somebody on an online dating platform, you can disappear. And like, that's not ghosting, right?
Yeah.
Is it just after a first date, then you're like required to it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I think if you actually go on a date with someone, I think if you've been on a date with someone, you should have the decency to say something.
I'm going to give it a 3-day minimum.
She said not after the first date, not after the second date. 3 dates, I shouldn't be ghosting you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think once you've established that it's something more than casually seeing each other, then you should be required to say something. And also, I did not do that one.
She's like, even though I'm
a bad girl.
Someone use that soundbite or something. I think it's interesting that you said that because I've struggled with this where, even when I'm like, God, I don't really know them, like there's so much nuance, right?
Yeah,
so I think like, how do you feel about someone you met because I personally had an experience a couple months ago where I met this guy at a bar. We hit it off so well. I was like, oh my God. Like we were talking about going on a date. We were like, we exchanged each other's Instagrams, blah, blah, blah. He spent the whole night with me at the bar. My friends were like, how do you know this guy? I was like, I don't, but we're having so much fun. We didn't kiss or anything, but it was like very clearly flirty. And we were going to go on we were talking about going on a date like this following week. And I get home, we message each other on Instagram. He's like, I'm home. I'm like, me too. And I'm like, so when do I get to see you next? Ghosted. I was like, oh my God, for why? Yeah. Like, and that's where I'm like, okay, say you saw me in person and you spent multiple hours talking to me and then you happened to get home and you were like, never mind. Like, heard. Like, I get that. But I'm like, first of all, why were you spending so much time with me at the bar? Second of all, and again, with women, I think there is a safety issue. Yeah, sometimes you're like, I'm just going to be nice to the guy so I don't get killed tonight. Yeah. And even though that's morbid, there's some truth to that. But I'm like, this is a man that I'm like,
has
unassuming.
This choice of like what? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I also was like, it was Halloween. I was in a Halloween costume. So I was like cute and flirty. I'm like, I'm not like, maybe I was like dangerous in the way of like, she's so cute.
So this is where my heart splits because anybody that does this to Madison deserves to die. But
no death.
But if I'm looking at it from a Sky point of view, like I don't think that that's necessarily nice, but I also don't think necessarily maybe anybody's required to at that point.
Yeah.
And also, I just wouldn't want anybody that wasn't super excited about you
to continue.
Was like that. Yeah,
I 100%. But that's where I'm like, first of all, death by ghosting. I think that's so funny. I will not get over that. But I agree with you. And and trust me, I am that bitch that's always like, you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything.
You are, yeah.
But I'm like, I kind of feel like he owed me at least a like
some kind of answer.
Because he was the one that messaged me and got my shit and was like so easily pursuing it, like walked me to my car, said bye to all my friends. Like it wasn't this like in like the shadows of the bar, he was being cute and then was being like weird. He like his friends were even talking to me when I was leaving and being like, "Oh, it was so nice meeting you."
I mean, when I heard the story afterwards, I was like, "This guy is for sure following up. For sure following up."
I'm just like, "That's fine. You don't have to like me. You don't have to even want to go out with me, but at least like say something.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, so sorry. It was really nice meeting you. I'm actually not dating right now. You don't have to give me anything."
Thing too. Like I feel like you deserve that because that's what you always do.
Yeah.
So the energy you give out, you should get back. Like if I get ghosted at any point in my life, I'm gonna be like, I fucking deserve that. But
you're like, this is what happens when you fuck around and find out. Yeah, but then there are situations where I'm like, I just met him. You know, like we've been out at a bar and a guy has come up to me and asked for my Instagram and I've been like, sure, giving it to him. And then he's been like, we should go out sometime. And I'm like, sure. And then I'm not following up.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't follow up, I'm not like ghosting him.
Right. You're just not
But like they usually get shy like after they ask. And then if I say something like, okay, and I don't plan it, which I'm like, not my job if you're asking me out, but that's another conversation. But
or another episode.
But I'm like, if you ask me out and then I go, yeah, anytime, sure. Yeah. And then you don't follow up, I'm like, is that ghosting? Is that? And I'm like, no, sure, because he's not asking. But I'm like, there's been times where I'm like, I don't really know you or I've never met you. Like people that you meet on dating apps and you message them for a little and you're like,
I'm gonna just step back.
I'm gonna take a step back. You said something really hella weird. I'm a finger gun back out of this one. I think that's appropriate, but I do think once you go on a date with someone, you've shared a night with them. I think you should.
So I guess like for you, your rule would be if you've spent a significant amount of time with a person, and that be in terms of hours, like you would feel like
probably. I don't know if it's like a necessary time mark, but I think like taking a moment with someone and like even if I didn't know, like, okay, let's take out the obviousness about it, right? If you meet someone at a bar or someone, your friends introduce you and you talk at a party and you exchange information, you don't think anything's going to happen. And then someone follows up and they're like, hey, I want to take you out. If you knew that you had mutual friends, you would probably say something. You would probably be like, hey, I'm so sorry. I wasn't, I'm into someone else. I wasn't picking up that we were going to go out. You would, because your reputation's on the line,
Sure,
But I think so many people, because they're like, we have no connection.
I don't have to.
Yeah, they're just like, I don't give a fuck about them. And I'm like, if that was a friend of a friend or like, I don't know. And I understand with dating apps, it's so hard. And trust me, it's not like I've never ghosted someone. There's been times where guys will start having a conversation with themselves in my DMs or
I love
in my text stream.
So just the visualization of a guy's just like, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Oh, nice picture. No response.
They have conversations with themselves. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. But
do you think they tell their friends like, I'm talking to this girl?
I'm talking to the girl. It's going really well.
She's quiet type.
She's super quiet, super shy and demure. Well, it's funny to me because like the only times that I've ghosted in the recent like 3 years, because I think that's really predominantly when I would have been ghosting anyone. I am like, I can think of 2 people, and one of them was completely unhinged by the end of it, where I was like, I can't do like whatever I reply, you're not taking anything that I'm saying. I was trying to reason with you. I already had told him I wasn't going to see him anymore. And then he went off the deep end and I was like, okay. Like, and that didn't feel like ghosting, even though it is. By definition, I stopped replying and to never be seen again.
Well, I think that probably is what leads people to ghost.
Yeah.
Is maybe they did, I'm not saying for everybody, but like that kind of experience would generally be like, oh yeah, you know what? If I just don't say anything and just go away, I'm not going to have to deal with the craziness of it.
Yeah, which because some people handle rejection
very badly.
So poorly. Yeah. And I think that's where I get discouraged because I try to be as honest. And then I'm like, but like I really, truly no hard feelings. If anyone I ever dated, like whether it's meeting at a bar and I didn't go on a date with you, but we talked about going on a date, or if I went on multiple dates with you and you go, hey, sorry, I'm not feeling it. Hey, sorry, I'm not dating anyone. Hey, I got back with my ex, whatever. I'm going to be like, fuck, that sucks. But okay. Like if I like you, I'll say that sucks. But if I'm like on the fence, normal people should be like, oh, okay, heard. Thanks. Thanks for letting me know.
Getting to know you. Or
yeah.
whatever. Like, I mean, that's really when you're casually dating anyway, it is just getting to know somebody, right? And there's no guarantee of anything.
Yeah.
That if somebody doesn't feel it, it is the kinder thing to do to come and say something. But it also is the harder thing to do.
It's 100% the harder thing. So in that way,
yeah,
I empathize with my friends that are like, fuck, no, I'm going to ghost. And I'm like, yeah, that it feels less controversial, confrontational.
Well, like we had just talked about the fatigue of dating as well. And I think that like additional fatigue might come from exerting energy in those times of having to have multiple conversations. And maybe those conversations become more multiplied if you're having to like let each person down that you have dated.
That's true. That is true. But I'm also like, tough titties. I don't know. Like, I'm just
also
like,
fair. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, if you're putting yourself out there and you're trying to date and you're, you know, in your heart of hearts, you're like, I'm looking for that woman. I'm looking for that man, that one person that's special for me that we're going to be endgame amazing. Then, like, why do you think you deserve all of that with no accountability?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I obviously, I'm like radical on this. I really fucking hate ghosting. And I try to avoid it truly as much. I don't think you've ever seen me actually actually ghost someone.
Even never. Like not even somebody that you like went on a passive date with out of kindness even like, and you're like, oh, I can tell they really like me. She'll still follow up and say like, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, but it's just not like it's a no for me, dog.
It's a no for me, dog. Yeah. And it's funny because I had seen a girl on the internet. She was like, if we've barely gone on dates, like don't pity me with the like, hey, it's not you, it's me text. She's like, just fucking ghost me. And I was like, I completely disagree. Wholeheartedly. I'm like, I don't feel pitied.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you're pitying me, that's on you. Sure. Like if you feel it, go off, be on your high horse. But I'm like, if you're like, yeah, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm
Let me
gonna be
also
like, okay.
like put a little flake of honesty in here about the ghosting as well. There is something that if you have people that are consistently following up with you that you're not responding to, you feel a little bit like
You do.
You do.
You do, 100%. I think it is. It feels a little like.
So it is a little.
I'm desired.
Yes. And so there is a little bit of probably selfishness in that too. I'm not saying it's all around. I think there's like elements that are mixed in here, like avoiding confrontation, but you also probably feel very sought after if somebody continues to follow up when you're not responding.
And you're in power, right?
Absolutely.
It's a power trip too. Let's be fucking for real. Let's call a spade a spade. Yeah. Like, I think that some people that ghost, it's because they don't want to say, hey, I'm not into you, and get the response back of like, oh, same, me too. Yeah. Like, you were great, but like, I agree, it's not working out. That would shatter a lot of people's egos. Yeah. And I also think that a lot of people just like, they don't want to, they want to be the one that got away. They want to be the one that like left them in the dust and like, and it gives them the open door, not really, but some people feel like if they ghosted you, they can come back if they change their mind. And sorry, I'm laughing at my own self, but I'm like, I have many times not let anyone ghost me. Like where they try to ghost me. I'm like, hello, I'm here. And maybe it's not like that cringy, but like, I mean, it's a little cringy.
No,
I'm not gonna say.
I remember one time where you were like, I deserve an answer. Yeah. And you were like, no, it's not going to be over the phone. We're going to either FaceTime or we're going to, you're going to.
That was someone I was dating for months though. That's where I was like, come on,
let's be clear about
let's
that.
be fucking for real right now. And then, I've had people that I've been on a series of dates. It's never been someone, even though I really wanted to message that guy from the bar and be like, my guy, like, do you really think that's appropriate? Like at our big age, you think that's okay?
Yeah.
But go off. But yeah, it's been more the guys that I've gone on multiple dates with, and then they try to do that soft, I'm gonna just slowly back away and you're gonna lose. Nope. I'm like, hey,
what's going on?
What's up? I've been feeling that you're pulling away. Like, just want to like talk about the elephant in the room. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, let's get it. Let's just put it out on the line, because it gives me closure too. I think that's one thing that I get so upset with. It gives no closure. And some people on the internet, I'm sorry, I like feel like I've been holding the talking stick this whole time. I'll say this point and leave it. You're good. But I'm like, some people on the internet are like, no response is a response. And I'm like, heard. I hear that, but I'm like, no, it's not. Like, in my opinion, no, it's not. Like, I would rather some conversation, and sometimes there's not, and I get where people are like, I've been giving them the vibes, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I hear that. I really do. I hear that.
It's just, I mean, like, to be clear, like, just how people read other people, like what you might consider a vibe or an answer that you're showing somebody
so
isn't
clearly
necessarily clear. Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's fair to say, like, everybody deserves a conversation, especially if they're asking for one.
Yeah.
I think everybody deserves an answer if you're coming outright to somebody and saying, like, hey, I just want to know, like, you deserve honesty at that point. Don't be like me, be like Madison.
No. But trust me, it's enticing. Yeah. It's enticing. Yeah. I get the whole, like, especially when we're so reachable and we're so accessible and people can watch our social media and you can see when they're not responding and but they're at the coffee shop down the street and you're just like, you motherfucker, you're on your phone, And
I think what I would say, though, to the, like, no response is a response is, like, yes, you deserve an answer.
Yeah.
I think when it gets to that point is when you're asking for one and somebody's not giving you one. At that point, you have to throw your hands up.
I 100%. I 100% agree with that. I'm glad that you said that caveat because I agree. Like, don't have a conversation with yourself in someone's DMs. Like, if you want to reach out, you feel like I have done before, and you don't, and you don't get a response. That is clearly that's clearly like, and not even.
But then also closing the door at that point, and allowing and. It's like when they always talk about with children, not to compare men to children, but if you tell a child you're going to discipline them and you don't, then they will continue to do the action more and more and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
It's the same with relationships. Men. If you tell them that they cannot come back if they do this thing and you can allow them to come back, they will continue to
keep
the same
opening
thing.
The rope.
Yeah. The rope.
Yeah. like VIP rope.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry, fair. But like, yeah, I hear that. And I think a lot of the time, when they say no response is a response, when you're saying like, hey, what's up? You want to grab a drink? And they don't respond. Yeah, that's a response. But I'm also like, in my opinion, you deserve like, if you want someone to be like, oh, sorry, I'm not doing this anymore, or blah, 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 whatever. But yeah, when they don't respond, when you acknowledge it, when you go like, hey, I feel like you've done this, you've backed away, like, am I wrong? Right. And then they still don't respond. Yeah. I'm like, that is so clearly, because that, like, the first scenario, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that their schedule was too busy, they missed my text, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. They died. You're like,
they're in the hospital.
What about if they got in a car accident and they can't reach their phone? We've done it.
It often happens.
We've all done it for the guys we like, the girls we like.
Everybody's done it.
Their friends are like, well, maybe his phone disappeared. And you're like, in the 21st century? You're just like, no. But
he posted on social. Yeah. Maybe his phone's only working on Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Didn't he go to Nicaragua like 3 years ago? And you're like, what does that have to do anything? It's just like everything is like that. But you want to give people excuses. But when you are not confrontational, but when you're forward with someone and you're saying like, hey, I do want to confront this. What, why are you pulling away? And then they still don't answer. That really just solidifies for me what kind of character they have. Yeah. Unless again, there's a gray area here where if you've been berating them, because that's the only 2 times that I've not responded to a guy after they've been like, well, why aren't you, now you're not going to respond. It's after they've been like incredibly mean to me and like sent again, like 9 texts saying unhinged material. And I'm like, okay, if you would have broached it and been like, hey, my feelings are hurt. Like, can we talk about it again? I would have been like, absolutely. Yeah. But if they're not doing that, I think it's fair for you to be like, oh, they're not the type of person I'd want to date anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's really what I think what it boils down to is like ghosting is unfair. It is hurtful. If you feel like you've been ghosted unfairly, you're allowed to approach it and have the conversation. But I think also for anybody, and I don't want to even just say women, if there's a safety issue where somebody is coming at you saying things that are unnecessary, unfair, and attacky, you have every right to cut that communication off.
Absolutely. I couldn't co-sign that more. And I would say in the Lord year of 2024, in the Lord's name, the fact that we're here, and like I said to Ruth today, I was like, I'm choosing pieces here. And I am.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to choose peace sometimes. And like, I am such an advocate, and to my fault, to my demise, a lot of the time, I will say. Sometimes it works out for me, but for the most part, it's like, girlies, stop giving them a chance. And it's like, whether I have a past with someone or not, or if they show me their true colors and I'm like, maybe it's not their full true colors, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I want to give them another chance. But a lot of the time, people are they're telling you exactly who they are and who they want to be and what effort they deem necessary to give to you to continue to be with you. And if they're not showing up, if they're not respecting your time, if they're not responding to you, I think you have every right to just be like, I'm good.
And then also, like you said, like you're allowed to also like, and I've said this to you too. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with the truth.
Yeah.
If you feel a certain way and you want to go to somebody and say like, hey, what's up? Like you're allowed to do that.
Yeah, I totally. Obviously, be cautious of your safety. I think that's for everyone. You know, you don't want to start a fight with someone that wants to end a fight, you know.
Exactly,
But I think, yes, I think you need to. And I think I've always been so against blocking too. I think blocking is such a strong, like, unless, again, your safety or something. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, why'd they block me? Like, it's so childish, it seems. But a lot of the time, I think you're allowed to mute and or unfollow and or block people that, like, if they're in your general, like, vicinity, you know, you're seeing them on social media, you're seeing
if it's affecting your mental health in any way,
please cut them out. And it's hilarious coming from me because I am the opposite of like cut people out of your life. I'm usually like, well,
well, I mean, that's the hard thing too. I think for people that have your heart, it's hard because you will give people so many chances and give them so many outs that like even like if somebody like you'll give them excuses before they even give an excuse because your heart is so kind and you're like, you know, you wouldn't do that. So when you see somebody and you see who you think they are as a person, you assume that they also have the same heart as you.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, most people out there don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
Newsflash. Yeah, it's been a cold reality check. But I think it's good, you know, and I think at the end of the day, as long as I'm trying to keep safe my sanity and my heart, and I'm like, I don't want to ever stifle the amount of love I want to give the people in my life. So I'm not going to stifle myself for others. Like,
absolutely not.
So I think that's, and I think it really does tie into ghosting. I do want to ask you, because I feel like so many people have different opinions on ghosting. What is your definition of ghosting?
My definition of ghosting would be if I've been communicating with somebody consistently, and then I don't think ghosting is generally done like really quickly. I think it's always a slow fallback to nothing. And so I think it's generally like the slow responses back, and then the day responses back, and then the no responses back. I think that's generally what happens. What's yours?
I hear that. I feel like I've experienced a like abrupt ghost too, where you're just like,
hello?
Oh, okay,
sir.
Yeah. Is this thing on? Yeah, no, truly. It's one of those things that is so wild to me. But I think when I think of ghosting, I think of someone that like never gets back to you. Like their plan is to never confront the issue, never talk to you.
Yeah.
I do think there is soft ghosting. I think people that are like, I don't want to deal with this right now, but she's pretty hot, so I'll come back. No, that's still ghosting. Have you heard
that that's called Casper? Because it's the friendly ghost.
Look at you teaching me things. I didn't know that at all. If you're Caspering out there, don't stop. I beg of you. Why are you guys doing this? Like, it drives me crazy. It's like, yeah, why do you guys do that?
Ew.
Why do you guys do that? Not me.
No, I'm kidding.
I see it. Again, I see the point.
Yeah.
It just really grinds my gears.
Trust me. Like, listen, like I know why I did it. Like I think I definitely was really bad about addressing conflict. Like I've definitely grown out of that and I address conflict better now, but like then I was very conflict avoidant and that's why I did it. But then I see the other side of it too. Like I've been ghosted. I've seen my friends ghosted, and I see the pain side of that too, where it's like you're avoidant of conflict, which might feel safer for you, because you're not witnessing the pain you're causing somebody else.
You're
really,
ignoring it.
Yeah.
It's not even that you're not witnessing it. You're actively ignoring it. And I think that's where people really escalate how bad ripping off the Band-Aid of saying something like disappointing to someone would be. When I'm like, trust me when I say wholeheartedly, at least for me, I'll speak only for me, anytime someone's turned me down has been 10 times less painful than someone that's even breaking up with me has been 10 times less painful than someone just being like, I'm gonna slowly back up. I'm like,
because that's more confusing, right? In the long run.
And it's also like then you have no reason for why. You know, you have no like.
Well, the problem is people like that don't know the why.
Oh yeah, a lot
because
of the time.
If they're like, I'm sure I didn't know the why for most. I'm like, I just don't feel it, or like, where it's like, if you're a self-auditing person and you're really like going into different things with goals and like intentions and things like that, you would clearly know the why and you could have a conversation about it. You also are a more well-formed being. Other people that are conflict avoidant, aren't comfortable having those conversations, probably aren't having those conversations with themselves. That a lot of times they're going to go away because in their mind they can't even understand what's going on. So how can they even explain it to you?
Sure, I hear that. And to that, I'd say go to therapy.
BetterHelp.com.
Yeah. Sponsor us. No, genuinely, because I'm like, hello, you need to read some books. Hire a therapist.
We support therapy in all forms. Like, we've all gone through our own stuff. Everybody brings baggage to the table. Everybody has like pain that they're dealing with, but also recognize like if you're avoiding pain, you could be offering pain to other people by like doing it on your own route. So
I completely agree. And trust me, I'm not saying like I am holier than thou because I turn people down. No, stop. True.
She is.
Genuinely cannot express how wrong that is. But like in the way of, I hear like, I don't want people at home being like, wow, Maddie thinks she's so good because she tells people that she can't date them anymore. I'm not saying that.
In that voice.
In that voice. That's how they talk. But I should do voiceover work.
You should. Hire her.
My manager's like, God, no, please. But yeah, I think about that a lot. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to, at the end of the day, I'm trying to self-audit. I'm trying to give people peace to the best of my ability. I know that I don't always do it the best way. And
you do really well.
I try, but like, I think that's the point. It's like, please just try to respect others' times and other people's time, effort, you know, energy. If they spent time taking you out on a date or taking a night off of their fucking week to go out with you, get dressed and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I think you can throw them a text. And I still firmly stand, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, I'm like, if you have to white lie about why you can't see someone, do it. I'm like, I know in our Barbie dream house world, we're being completely, utterly honest. That's how I try to operate my life. But sometimes when it is something like, his breath smells and I just don't want to tell him that. Like, I don't want to tell him. You're like, I don't want to do that. Like, you can say like, hey, it's not the time for me to date, or I'm reassessing my dating goals or something like that. Like, you can give the soft blow in that way.
I have a question for you. Is there a time limit that passes that is too far past gone to apologize for ghosting? Because there's definitely been like, especially like I think back to some people and I'm like, God, I feel like an asshole about that.
Sure.
But like, I don't want to like 5 years later, yo. So what happened?
Hope you're cool. Yeah. I don't think there is. I really.
And they're like, new phone, who did?
They're like, who?
Never mind.
I honestly, amends for me, I think there's no expiration on that. I think you'll probably be met if there was a substantial amount of time with people being like, oh, it's cool. Don't worry about it. And I don't think like, just don't, as long as you're going into it, not going to take that as offensive, you know, like, oh, like, sorry, I texted you. You know, I think it's better to say something than not say something. But sometimes enough time has passed that you're like, they're in a relationship, I'm in a relationship. This is water under the bridge. But there's been people that I've been like, hey, you're not going to do this, are you? And they've been like, you're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have tried to ghost you. And I'm like, yeah, okay, so we're good. Like, we're not going to see each other anymore. I just want to confirm that. And they're like, yeah, well, and I'm like, no, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to.
I made the decision.
Yeah, and like, and not
Power
to have,
taken back.
yeah, and not to have the upper hand, but to be like, no, you've showed me an favorable quality about yourself. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Unfavorable in my opinion. I'm not saying that you're unfavorable, but at least the guys I want to date, like the guys I want to date, I'm like, fucking just be accountable. Like,
well, it's just the truth is, and I've said this before, when the right person comes along, it won't even matter anyway. I know it sucks right now.
Yeah.
And I know I've said this to you before, but I really, truly believe these are the moments that you look back on and you go, oh my God, I appreciate this person so much because of these past experiences.
Yeah, they taught me a lot. And I've already learned a lot. And I truly, like, with my heart open, I'm like, thank you guys. Anyone that I've dated, like, whether it's been shitty and we don't talk anymore or we're friends now, like, I'm very thankful for the people that are in my life that I've been able to date. But I'm like, let's try and be better in 2024.
That's the goal of 2024.
Let's try and be better. And ghosting, I want to hear people's opinions on it. Like, if you're like, Maddie, you're so fucking full of shit. Like, I
actually would love to hear this from people. I want to know what your guys' definition is of ghosting. When are you required to give an explanation of not wanting to see somebody? What is it, first, second, third? 1 year down the road.
Don't ghost after, because I've heard of that too. People like having full on engagements and then ghosting people. Yeah. I'm like, hello.
I've heard that as well, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
But yeah, what is your marker for like it's marker? Appropriate?
And also, have you been ghosted? Have you ghosted? Like what are your stories that you want to share? But to wrap us up here, let's try to be kind. We understand it from both sides. I understand it from both sides.
Yeah, Maddie's a little radical here. I'm so sorry. Ruth understands.
But let's just try to be kind. Let's recognize that when we do things to people, it hurts them maybe longer than we even realize. And let's hold to just being kind in 2024. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. One last thing. What are you grateful for?
Ooh, I'm grateful for hot chocolate.
Oh. I'm grateful for friends that make me hot
chocolate. And that's what we do.
Yay. Thank you guys so much. We're so happy you're here. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.